Well, Goodison Park is now emptying behind me after Everton have suffered a third consecutive home defeat of this new campaign. It was another match of a similar story, really, some recurring nightmares for Sean Dyche. A relatively positive, competitive first 65 minutes of this game here, in which Everton, they struggled for possession, they didn't create a lot of chances, but they also didn't concede too many either, to an Arsenal side that I think we all acknowledge are very, very good and going to be right at the top end of the table this season. But unfortunately, what happened again was just like it did against Fulham, just like it did against Wolverhampton. The final half an hour is what cost Everton. It was a neat finish from Leandro Trossard that came from a well-worked short corner, which I think Everton and I think Sean Dyche will be disappointed when he looks back on, because for all the chicanery of this Arsenal side, and we know that it's a very clever team, Trossard simply had too much space when the ball was pulled back by Bukayo Saka to him 16 yards out, and his side-footed finish, it may well have been a sight to behold, but that's not something that any Everton fan is going to take any joy from whatsoever, particularly when you look at the way that this season is already starting to unfold. You had those recurring themes, really, of an Everton side which looked competitive for the first hour of the game, but then just couldn't carry on with that for the final half hour. And once they did go behind, they really struggled to pose much of a threat to get back into the game. Dominic Calvert-Lewin had come on just before the goal. Youssef Chermiti came on for the final stages as well, but they never really looked like getting into this. It's a difficult one to assess, I think, because I think everybody would have gone into this game knowing that Everton are the underdog for all of the positivity of the results that they've had over Arsenal in these games over the past 5-6 years or so. It was always going to be very, very difficult. They had a reprieve in the first half. Gabriel Martinelli's goal ruled off for a controversial offside. It was very, very pleasant to see a VAR decision rarely go in Everton's favour. And after that, they did start to build on it. They'd come into the game a little bit more. I think Martinelli's substitution straight after the goal probably helped him and removed the directness of his threat from down Everton's right and just allowed him to push up the pitch a little bit more. And at half time, okay, it wasn't the most entertaining first half, but it was a game in which, although Everton hadn't had much possession, they, like Arsenal, had only had one shot on target. Problems again come in that second half, and Sean Dyche has really got a lot of thinking to do now, because obviously they go to Brentford next week. It's going to be another difficult game, and I think really already my thoughts are starting to go towards the end of the month, and that double header against Luton and then Bournemouth, both at Goodison. Everton have lost 3 out of 3 at Goodison. They simply have to turn this place into, I know it's a cliche, but they have to turn this place into a fortress if they're going to have any chance of avoiding a really troubling season. And it has to start with obviously newly promoted Luton. It's a 6-pointer already. If Everton can't get a first win on the board by then, if they haven't already got something at Brentford, then I think we really will start to see trouble. And it's not just results that need to start becoming clear for Everton at home. I think it's also performances as well. We know how powerful the Everton fan base can be if they can get behind this Everton team. But those players have got to give them something to cheer. And again today, they just weren't quite able to do that. And I think that's something else that Sean Dyche is going to have to address. Look, there are some positives from today. Dyche had the opportunity to choose between Beto and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, 2 genuine options to spearhead that Everton attack, and I think that they will get stronger result. Dwight McNeil was back in the starting lineup. Obviously, we know Jack Harrison, Seamus Coleman, the likes of those are coming back as well. Sean Dyche was actually able to name 9 players, a full bench for the first time in goodness knows how long, without having to put 2 goalkeepers on it. So there is a sense that I think there's an obvious route towards things starting to get a little bit better, and seasons, and I know people hate it when we say this, but seasons aren't, where Everton are right at this stage, the seasons aren't going to be defined by performances and results against Arsenal, but things do need to improve, and they do need to improve quickly.